again. And here we are.
Hello, guys.
Ooh, this is bright. Welcome, everybody, to the Sabby and Jaybe show on Revolutionary Blackout Network. So good to see all of you. I am one of your hosts, Jaybe. Here is Sabby.
What's up, guys? Happy Thursday. It's almost time for the weekend. Super pumped and excited.
Yes. Just to let you guys know, the Sabby and Jaybe show is every single Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on RBN. You can also catch Sabby Sabs on RBN on Fridays at 6 p.m. as well as you can catch her on tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right, Sabs?
That's right.
All right. And then you can find me on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern on RBN, and you can find me on my channel on Tuesdays at 2. The links to our channels are also in the chat and in the description if you guys would like to go and give us a follow or a sub. By the way, congratulations to Sabby Sabs on 50,000 subscribers! Yes!
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations, Sabby Sabs in the chat. And if you have not subscribed to her channel, there is something wrong with you. You need to go and subscribe to her channel right now. Let's try to get her to 60,000. We need to. All right.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, JB. Yeah, I was really surprised. I'm really surprised.
Go to the channel, give us a sub, and then come back.
You know how I found out?
I was watching. Go ahead. Tell everybody else.
So Kent from Hardlands Media DM'd me and said, congratulations on 50K. And I was like, what? Because I've been pretty busy today. But a lot of times, especially like during the day, I'm not paying attention. But I was surprised because I wasn't supposed to. I don't know if you guys follow Social Blade, but if you go on Social Blade, you can actually search for any YouTube channel and it'll show you like their future projections. And on Social Blade, it said I wasn't expected to hit 50K until that last week of September going into October. So I wasn't expecting it at all. Like I was like, I don't have a feature. My mic is messed up. Oh, hold on. Test.
Yeah, it sounds kind of echoey, like you're in a, I don't know if it's on.
Let me mute. Okay. It's good on my end. It's the right microphone. It says it's fine on my end.
Oh, okay. I mean, I can still hear you.
But yeah, I was surprised. So I wasn't expecting it. It's like, and I said, well, when it happens, I'll have something prepared to say. And it happened, and I didn't have anything prepared. So I was like, I'm just gonna go off the cuff and say thank you to people.
Great. So yeah, that's exciting. If you guys have not already, then you guys can join our mailing list at revolutionaryblackout.substack.com. If you guys would like to get email notifications whenever we go live or upload clips, so you guys also have that as well. If you guys would also like to, you guys can actually go to our website at revolutionaryblackoutnetwork.com. And if you guys also would like to support the channel, you guys can go and get YouTube membership. We have $3.99 YouTube memberships as well. Thank you so much to also Aaron, who is our graphics designer. If you guys like to contribute to our graphics designer, you guys go to Venmo at Revolutionary Blackout, or you can go to Cash App, $, Mutual Aid Forever. Also, just to let you guys know, My chapter is we're going to be launching this Saturday, which is going to be amazing. I'm so excited. We're going to be meeting at the Drunken Monkey. Yes, that's the real name, the Drunken Monkey Cafe. So we're going to be meeting there just to discuss what our community needs are. We'll be doing that at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then we can get started on actually doing community action. I'm excited. It's going to be this Saturday. So the Orlando chapter is chaptering, if that's a word, but we'll do it. Oh, you're muted.
I just gotta say, I'm so pumped about the chapters and seeing everything just kind of come together, because it's been, it's hard work. It's not easy, like doing mutual aid. It's not easy starting a chapter either. I mean, you have to get people to help and contribute and stuff like that. And it's just kind of cool that now you finally see, like, all of us, like Nick's doing fundraiser for school supplies in Kansas City. You're meeting with your chapter this weekend in Orlando. I feel like we have every part of the country covered, because we got East Coast, we have the Midwest, and we have the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
So what would be really cool
in the South, actually,
and the South, it'd be really cool if we get like international. There was one guy named Marlon. Rome actually inspired him to start a mutual aid organization in the UK. So he started mutual aid in the UK because he was inspired by Rome. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
Cryosense says, Sabby, I think your laptop mic is on, not your external mic.
That's all right. Let me go out and come back in.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
But yes. And so just for you guys, Sabby will be right back. Don't worry. And so just thank you guys so much for, if you guys would like to, you guys can also become patrons on Patreon as well. You guys go to patreon.com/revolutionary blackout. So thank you so much to everybody. Until Sabby comes back and everything is copacetic, I'm going to go in and say hello to all the people in the chat. All right. So we have Dwayne coming in early. Dwayne says, thanks. Thanks. Good to see you, Dwayne. We also have Hugo coming in saying the American dream, because you have to be asleep to live it. Ooh. Loren says, hi, Jaybe and Sabby. All right. Bryce Smith coming in saying, sup, Sabby and Jaybe and comrades. All right. Larez. Oh, yeah. Good to see you. Who else? Oh, my goodness. You guys are talkative today. We have Rick Solis, Gamer for Life, saying hello. Rick Solis saying, hey, y'all. All right. Outsider Steelers fan saying, hey, y'all. Good to see you. We have Michael Perez saying, congrats to Sabby. That's right. Congrats to Sabby Sabs. Sean Miller saying, yay, 50K. Absolutely. We are happy for our sister. Wadi says, hey, everybody. Good to see you in here as well. Whoop. Ben trying to look out for Sabby Sabs. Good to see you. Paul Smith saying congratulations to Sabs. All right. We have Ben coming in saying, I hear a terrible echo. Okay, thank you so very much. Uh-oh. Says it's fine. All right. Who else? Whoever says, Sabby, you earned it. Your channel is outstanding. Your channel is also outstanding, JB. Thank you. Thank you very much. I've been binging on your readings you do when the tube is uncooperative. Much love, you guys. Thank you so much. Jay coming in saying, Corey has the best takes on everything. This is going to be fun. It's going to be great to get into. Casey McLover says, what's up, Waddy? Giving people love in the chat. Good to see you. Joseph Bett coming in saying, what's up, everyone? Child of God saying, congrats, Sabs. I found RBN through you. All right.
Should be fixed now.
You now, Sabs?
Should be fixed now. You hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
No echo. All right. Why? Because Sabby is a winner. All right. Wesley coming in saying, hi, gang. All right. And then who else? Oh, thank you so much, Tammy T. Good evening, all. Thank you, RBN, for all the work you do. Thank you so much for the super chat, Tammy T.
Thanks, Tammy.
All right. And Ben. Oh, yep. Ben saying everybody's saying much better. All right. Thank you.
The input was low.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then Ben says, JB, I love your enthusiasm when reading comments. Oh, man. We already got tips on Rockfin before we even started with the story. You want me to go ahead and go to those tips really quick?
Let's do it. It's gonna be a good show, I think.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm actually quite excited to go over this. I have a bunch of notes right now, so JB's got some things to talk about. All right, so we're gonna go to chat on Rockfin really quick before we get started. Thank you so much for the tips on Rockfin. Roger Meadows says, I dream about Leah Lando. Make all the Luciano and girls with condos. Chanel with Guintano, girl, my persano. I share like Sonny Bono, black and white keys, lay girls on my piano. Me, Missy, and Timbo, rap in my tempo. Huckleberry Finn, Magoo with the South pimple caught up in my lingo. Be not girl, I'm bingo. Help, I see a beetle. Cool. Out, that's only Ringo. Missy sang and Django as I commence my tango. Genuine, riding on a pony. Put my money in the middle. Check the riddle. Got your girl's pants in a hot, thinking she was dime when you only just a nickel. R.I.P. Magoo. Much love to Missy and Timbaland.
That's from that song. The Love to Love You song. Love to love ya.
Okay.
Ooh, love to love ya. Yeah, that's what that's from.
Yo, you gotta put the respect and love to Roger, man.
Magoo passed away.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, snap. Okay. All right. Thank you for letting me know, Sabs. I had no idea. All right.
Timberland.
Yep, Timberland. And then thank you so much to the super chat. Jay the Informant says, what's your auditioning for Blues Clues? Oh, because of my shirt. Are you trying to say I look like a chocolate Steve from Blues Clues?
Mail time. Here's the song I love to yell. It makes me want to wag my tail. Mail time. We are looking for a Blues Clues.
Oh, God. I never watched Blues Clues growing up.
We are looking for a Blues Clues. You never saw Blues? You don't know Steve?
No, I never watched it. Look,
Steve.
I'm older than you. Okay, I didn't watch it.
I watch. Okay, don't laugh. But me and my roommate used to watch it when we were in college.
Really?
My roommate had a crush on Steve.
Steve was kind of cute. I ain't gonna lie. I'm just saying.
I think she had a crush on Steve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway,
what's that, Blue? What's that, girl? Or boy? I think Blue was a boy, actually.
Yeah,
what's
yeah. Magenta was a girl. Yeah.
Mail time.
All right, man. What are we talking about today? Let's get into it. All right, we're gonna be talking about Corey Holcomb talks the meritocracy myth. So comedian Corey Holcomb talks about meritocracy myth on his show 5150. And then also we have the Alabama mom that talks about where the American dream go. This is actually interesting. And there's a controversy surrounding Corey Holcomb about something that he said that I honestly think that is misconstrued. Wait, do I? Oh, yeah, I got it. And so I want to go into this. And like a lot of things, Sabs, when I sent you this tweet, how did it sound to you at first? Because a lot of times people lack context. But your first reaction, what did you think?
It sounded like he was, on the same camp as pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Like, people making excuses as to why they're not doing well financially. That's what it sounded like if you just watched the clip. But that's why it's important to go back to the original video, because sometimes these clips on Twitter are taken out of context.
Yes. So I'm going to share with you guys what it is, what people are saying. So this is out of Black Millionaires. They posted this, and then they said comedian Corey Holcomb is receiving backlash for clowning people who do not have their money and career together by the age of 40. The system work on you. Shut the F up. Now, let's listen to this, and it's going to sound like he's saying exactly what Sabby said. But is that all? So let's take a look really quick.
First of all, if you ain't got shit and you motherfucking 40 plus, shut the fuck up. The system worked on you. If you out here at rock bottom in your 40s, the system worked on you. I'm sorry, it got you. You still stuck in a rut. You still playing the lottery. Scratch your shit off with a penny as you leave the liquor store. See if I got some. That's what they want you to be on, some shit like that. First of all, if
Well, I'm wondering, Black Millionaires posted this clip. I'm wondering if they saw the full video, or did they, see this clip from someone else and then they posted this clip?
That's a good question.
That's the thing.
And they don't continue on, right? Somebody else said this is a layered discussion. There's lots of barriers that trip people up, especially Black people, when it comes to career and money. However, a lot of people on an individual level F off in their 20s and then end up being a burden on their loved ones who were grinding. Even that doesn't really actually explain what was said beforehand. And the thing is that this was actually a more nuanced conversation that I honestly think that Black millionaires just failed to show. And I don't know. I don't think it was intentional, but it's like, if you get the full context, because literally 45 minutes of context was missed upon this.
Right. And, you have to ask what was the intention. Again, did they see the full video, or did they see this clip shared by someone else and then they recorded that same clip and then reposted that clip? This is why it's important. And Jaybe, this is a lesson that I think both of us learned, like doing this show and and just commentating in general, is that we used to do this too, where we would see a clip on Twitter and we shared the clip and not go back to the original source and then be like, oh, shoot, like we don't have the full context. And so I think a lot of us have done that in the past. And so we kind of learned, like, along the way, that it's important to go back to the original video. So a lot of people are giving Corey flack because of that clip and not actually watching the full conversation. And we've seen people do this to Jimmy Dore a lot too. They'll take like this one clip on Twitter and the clip will purposely leave out what he said before that or after that. When I talked to Jimmy Dore, when I asked him about the reparations conversation, somebody clipped that and, tagged, a bunch of people in it and stuff and said, you shouldn't talk to Jimmy about this and da-da-da-da. Why, you saw that. Like, why aren't you talking to, like reparations people about this or whatever? Totally clipped out the part before that clip that was actually important in reference to context, and the piece that was said after that clip. And so, like I said, sometimes people do this shit on intentional to try to like get our attention and stuff like that. Not maybe this could have been done intentional to get Corey's attention, but that's not fair,
It's not. And the thing is that honestly, after listening to this entire conversation, it was actually not what you think. So I want to get into that. So first off, it's his podcast, so I hope that we don't get a copyright claim, but we're just going to be commentating and stopping and starting, so it's not going to be actually playing it. And I hope that he actually appreciates the breakdown that we do, because you and I, we actually, from watching this was actually some pretty base takes.
Right. And, who knows, like maybe he'll see this or something, but I think that, I think it's JB and I think that it's important that you guys see the full context of this conversation.
Mm-hmm. So let me share this. And first, what I'm first going to do is I'm going to go back and we're going to go over the actual context of what he said when he said it. So let me see. 650. Okay. All right. Whoop. Let's go to that part. And I'm going to be starting a little bit early, okay? All right. So, let me see. Unmute. All right.
That shit played the fuck out. Motherfucker, look, a motherfucker who break in your house could fall and sue you for falling. What the fuck you gonna do with some money in your name?
So first of all, he's ending on a note where talking about how just having money isn't enough anymore because somebody can take your money away within a snap, in an instant. So that's basically what he's saying, just to give you guys some context.
Mm-hmm.
My man walking down the stairs now. If he fell down the stairs, goddammit, if he wanted to,
He's gonna shake the room.
Get your conversation. All I'm saying, man, everybody ain't got the master plan upstairs like the next person might have, what they call the master plan. But first of all, if you ain't got shit and you motherfucking 40 plus, shut the fuck up. The system worked on you. If you out here at rock bottom in your 40s, the system worked on you. I'm sorry, it got you. You still stuck in a rut. You still playing the lottery, scratching shit off with a penny as you leave the liquor store. Let me see if I got some. That's what they want you to be on, some shit like that. You gotta perfect your grind out here where you get to the point where you just like, okay, I'm coasting now. I'm coasting. The machine run itself. But all that, man, I just don't know a lot of people who got it off hard work. Back in the day, there were men who, Marcus, you brought up real estate, like in the maybe early 1900s to maybe 1950. I even go as far back as 1960. You used to be able to build a house. I'm talking about there were men who built houses and they fucking have wealth because of that, because they were able to do something with their hands that's worth something now. But now, what can you do to become wealthy? Will somebody tell me? Because I don't know. They coming out with this money that expires in the bank.
So that gives more context, right? It basically meaning that you can't work hard and make it in this country. That's basically what he was alluding to, and really what he built up to for over the past 45 minutes. And we'll get into some of the points that he made. But I think it's important that a lot of people realize that, he wasn't basically saying that you should pull yourself up by your bootstraps. He's basically saying, even if you did, it still does not work anymore in this country.
Correct. And another thing he mentioned about the scratch tickets. I was thinking about this a couple days ago. Every time I go to the gas station, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the closest one to me, the pumps, for whatever reason, the pumps don't know how to read the cards with the chips. So you always got to go inside. And I noticed, like, every time I see someone buying scratch tickets, it's always older people that are old enough to be my parents. Mm-hmm. Or like grandparents.
Yeah.
And I have to ask myself, like, man, you know the system messed up when somebody in like their 70s or their 80s really hoping on winning something from that scratch ticket because they need the money. And what have we developed, economically as the system that we have in this country, to the point where he said, if you're in your 40s, I just want to explain, like, if you are in your 40s and you still, struggling, to his point, it is more difficult the older you get to get out of it, out of that hole unless you have somebody lift you up out of that hole, someone extend their hand to you and pull you up out of it, somebody help you get out of that situation, unless you have some help. But it's true. It's like once you get to a certain age, it's going to be harder. And I say this because even when it comes to employment, there's discrimination in reference to age when it comes to employment. They don't say you're too old. They say you're overqualified. That's what they say. You're overqualified for this job. So it's like, and if you're a career changer, you're trying to switch careers because your field that you're in has been, has become more like, I guess, like swallowed up by technology, and you can't, there's not many jobs available left in your field. So you may become a career changer. And a lot of times people will pivot to like HR. Like that's a big one, right? Again, it's like, no, your age isn't on the application, but your birth date is, so they can see the year that you're born. And so there's a lot of discrimination. So it's true. If you've gotten to that point where a lot of times you're in your 40s and people, you still can't get a leg up, it's harder for you. It's easier when you're in your 20s and when you're in your 30s. People are more willing to help out someone that's younger. People are more willing to give opportunities to people who are younger. But once you get to be a certain age, especially if you have a family, you have kids, then it's just kind of like they feel like you're not of use. Your labor is not going to be of much use for their comfort, their company. So that goes back to the whole capitalism issue.
Yes. Yeah. And so basically, in fact, after reading the first part of chapter 4 of Laziness Does Not Exist by Dr. Devon Price, one of the things that actually was brought out is that your value, your personal value is actually tied to your labor value, which makes it seem like if you're not productive at all times, then you don't have value. That means it's also tied to your self-esteem and self-worth. And so because of that, then because you don't produce enough, that you are worthless, when in reality, that is actually a lie that's being told to us, that's perpetuated by what Dr. Devon Price likes to call the laziness lie, or the lie also that's perpetuated by capitalism in order to keep you running, keep you grinding, so to speak. That's basically what it is.
That's right. The closer you get to retirement age, the less use employers seem to have for you, because they know that, you're getting younger people, like people in their 20s, especially the ones that are just graduating high school or just graduating college. They tend to be really hungry, right? Like they want to get out there. They want to get into the workforce. They look at people who are like in their 40s or 50s is like, you've already been through the workforce for so long. You already know the system and you know how challenging it can be. So they look at you as though you come with baggage. Whereas like the younger people, they're bright eyed and bushy tailed and like, they don't know like just how much corruption is within the labor field yet. So they'll find that out as they go along. But they can get more use out of them. They can overwork them if they want to. A lot of times, younger people don't know their rights when it comes to labor. Yes. So there's a lot of things that go into it.
Yep. So let me go to the next point. So this, since we now got some of the context of what he said and got the controversy kind of out of the way, let's go into some of the things that Corey Holcomb and a couple of his co-hosts may say. You have two co-hosts that make a couple points. You have Craig and you have Marcus. So Marcus is the guy in the middle. Craig is the guy to the left of Marcus. They both have on hats. So basically, Craig is the light-skinned guy. Marcus is the dark-skinned guy in the middle. So just so you guys know and who's saying what, let's get into this point right quick here.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Some niggas are responsible too. They spend unnecessarily.
Do they?
Of people like that too.
You know the people who spend unnecessarily? The people who got some unnecessary money.
Not necessarily. Oh, that's funny.
You got to be aware of your paper, your pockets too.
Do you?
I mean? Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, those people that can spend unnecessarily can afford to spend unnecessarily.
Who spends unnecessarily? I don't know.
People.
Poor people?
Yeah.
Do they?
Yes.
What do
Well,
poor
no, maybe
people spend unnecessarily?
They get
I would
themselves
like
in
to
debt.
know.
Is that what you're saying?
Macca, what up,
A lot of
baby?
people that I know
What's
get
happening,
themselves
man?
in debt. Like, is that what you're talking about too, Marcus? Like, in other words, they already don't have much expense. So what they do is they further themselves down.
I
a
understand your
rabbit
point,
hole
D,
in
but
debt.
I would love for Marcus to just explain to me, what do poor people buy unnecessarily?
A lot of things. They,
Like,
they,
I-
they
Trying
spend a
to, for
lot.
the floss, you know what I'm saying? That
Yeah,
kind of thing.
like some people spend money to look good. You're supposed to be frugal when you poor.
Okay, so I don't know if you saw this part, Sabby, but he busted out laughing because you said you're supposed to be frugal while you're poor. Now, what would be your answer to that? Please, enlighten us on. Go easy on him now, Sabs. But
Okay.
what was
Okay.
your position on somebody being frugal? You have to be frugal when you're poor.
I just feel like that's a class gatekeeping mentality. And define frugal. Frugal to one person may be different for someone else. Like, for example, let's say you are poor, but your job requires you to wear a suit to work. So you got a leg in to corporate America, so to speak, where you can get that, you have that job, you have that opportunity to move up in the ladder and maybe to build, some type of wealth, right? Okay, so if you have a job where you have to wear a suit to work, or let's say you have to wear dress clothes, maybe not necessarily a suit, but you have to wear dress clothes. Jaybe, I think you and I both know that slacks and, dress shirts, especially the men collar shirts, those clothing items are not cheap.
No.
So no matter how frugal you are, if you have to wear dress clothes like to your job, that is going to be money that's going to be coming out of your paycheck just so you can have the right dress code when you go into work.
Yeah.
Two, a lot of people, if they're poor, if they're on like food stamps and things like that, okay, how far does being frugal go when we have inflation? If you're on food stamps and you go to the grocery store, every week I've gone to the grocery store so far, the prices continue to increase every week. So if you're on food stamps and you're trying to be frugal, that frugalness can only go so far when we have inflation. So that type of mindset, the Mr. Dude sitting there with the hat on, the white hat that he has, that's a capitalist mindset. And for him to like put poor people in this certain bubble as to what they're supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do, why is it okay for people who have money to be able to take care of their self, to be able to get massages, to be able to like have good health care, to be able to get their hair done so that they can look and feel good about their self? But basically, if you're poor, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
You see the problem with the mentality is like, if you're poor, you're not supposed to take care of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And the funny thing is that it's like frugal for whom? Because in my opinion, and this is how my grandmother was, frugal doesn't mean getting the same clothing item for cheap over and over and over and over. It might mean getting the more expensive, higher quality product so it lasts a long time, so you won't have to keep getting the same damn thing over and over. Like, for instance, I can keep getting those cheap $20, $25, $30 dress shoes, or I can go and get some nice, oh my God, I forgot the brand of that shoe, but they're like $150. But how long are they going to last you? That's the question.
Yep.
The thing is that sometimes you have to forego thrifty for quality. The problem is that unfortunately, look, $150 shoes, and they may last you 10 years versus having to buy $40, $35, $40 pairs every 6 months. You're going to end up spending more within a shorter period of time. And so, frugal for whom?
And I can tell you, like, yeah, like you can buy, like, if you have to wear heels for your job, you have to wear dress shoes for work. You can get dress shoes from Walmart, sure. But how long are they going to last? So is it better for you just to pay like $100 for a really nice pair of dress shoes? Or do you continue to keep buying shoes from Walmart, which are eventually going to surpass that $100? So I think this idea that they like to look good. It's like everyone should be able to look good. That's the thing that bothers me. Like when people like say those kinds of things, like same thing with like women getting their hair done. It's like, especially for us women, like if you're going into like any type of corporate job or like a business like environment, there are certain ways that we can't wear our hair to work. There are certain companies that don't allow Black women to come into the office with their natural hair texture. And that's another problem. So what does that mean? That means you got to get your hair done. That costs money.
Yep. And those keratin treatments are expensive, y'all. Yeah, even men's haircuts are expensive now. It used to be. Now, no. Just to get a fade, you pretty much got to go. You pretty much got to go and give some plasma just to get a fade now. Lord,
and men's dress shoes are very expensive too. Because when I was in high school, I worked at a store in the mall called the shoe department. And if you were put in the men's section for like a Saturday, that was like, you knew you were going to make bank on commission, because the men's dress shoes and the sneakers, they always cost more. So if you could sell a pair of like men's dress shoes on a Saturday, or like in a pair of sneakers, that's awesome, like commission for you. But men's dress shoes, those shoes are expensive. So, I mean, again, it's just like, I don't like his comment where he's like, they like to look good.
Yeah. Like, fuck that. Let's continue.
Like until you get to a point where you
Marcus said, when you poor, you supposed to be frugal.
You are, until you get to a point you save you enough money to where you could be able to spend necessarily.
Marcus, that is the most naive thing I ever heard you say in your life, bro. I mean, like, this is just my opinion, of course.
Sure.
You know, your opinion is just as important as my opinion. But I come from being poor. I'm talking about nothing. And when you ain't got shit, you are basically trying to find the smile to see in the mirror to cope with what you ain't got. So
there you go.
I'm saying, like, if you don't got shit, you can't fuck off no money, because you ain't got no motherfucking money. I'm telling you, man, there are people who buy cars with credit cards.
Yeah.
There are people who travel when they want, where they want.
But some people,
So you telling me a motherfucker that worked all week, 50, 60 hours, can fuck off some money? It's impossible. He ain't.
And I'll tell you, like when I was waiting tables, I had to have you had to have a pair of like black pants, and then you had to get those, the restaurant shoes, Jaybe. I don't know what they call them. The food service shoes that you have to get that have the steel toe, but they can be sneakers. And you have to have those. Yeah. For people who don't know, you have to have those because like when you go back into the kitchen, if something were to fall on your foot, there's that whole deal, and you don't want to deal with all that. So you have to buy those shoes, which oftentimes those weren't cheap. So I had to get those shoes. I had to get at least one pair of black pants. And then of course they gave me like the shirt to wear. Right. For the first like month, I wore the same black pants and the same shirt over and over again. Whereas like some other people had 5, 6 different pairs of black pants, different shoes. I did not have that. I wore like the same, I just would wash the same pair of pants over and over and over and over again. And that's the reality. So it's like, if that's what you have, then when it comes to everything else, like how you look, whether it's your hair or whatever, you at least want to be able to, like he said, look in the mirror and smile. I mean, it's just, these are the kind of things I think people don't really understand if you haven't had to struggle and you haven't had to go through that. Like, especially when you first start a job and you don't have any money. When I say you don't have any money, I don't mean that you don't have any money, but your parents are helping you out. I mean, you don't have no money. Your parents can't help you out, or your parents are not helping you out, or your parents are not even living. When you have to scrap with what you have to get through the job so that you can get paid, then take that money to get the other things that you need to get. And I'm talking about being poor to a point where you don't want people to come to your apartment because you don't have a bed, you have a couch, and your couch is your bed.
Yes, Thank you.
Some people don't understand that. Some people don't know what that's like. They ain't had that type of struggle. But I remember after the '08 housing crisis, I remember not allowing people to come to my apartment because at first that was all I had.
Yeah.
And it's like, come over. It's like, what are we going to do here? Where are you going to sit? Where are you going to? I don't want them to see that I'm sleeping on the couch.
Yeah.
Until I was able to save up enough money and to be able to buy a bed. Like, that's what some people know, that struggle. I know that struggle. Jaybe knows that struggle.
Yeah.
But a lot of people who make those comments about they're supposed to be frugal, they don't know that struggle.
No,
they don't know the struggle of, especially for those who waited tables, they don't know the struggle of going to work on E and hoping that you make enough in tips that night so you can put gas in your car to get back home. Some of them, they don't know that struggle. And that's a big difference. For a lot of us, it was hard. Like, it's after like the '08 housing crisis, a lot of us, it was hard. The gas went up, you know, and then obviously people weren't going out to eat as much. That's the first thing people cut out.
Yeah.
When the economy's bad.
Yep.
So a lot of people don't know that struggle.
And then your hours start getting cut. And once your hours get cut, like, you'll go into work ready to make your money so that you can afford your rent for the next month. The next thing you know, they're sending you home. And you have to work that day, because if not, your check's not going to be enough for you to make the rent. And the landlords don't accept partial payments. So next thing you know, you go into eviction process. And then on top of that, not only do you have late fees now, but you also have to pay attorney fees and court fees on top of it. So then by the time you have to pay your rent, you have to pay extra on top of it already. And then that cuts into your electric bill. That cuts into your food bill. That cuts into your transportation for you to get to and from work. Sometimes you don't even have enough to catch the bus to get to work.
That's right. I'm talking about you making enough money to the point where you only make enough to eat and go to sleep.
Yup.
That's it. Ain't no, let's all go out after work and go to the bar. No, I mean, like, you make that money that you made that night and then you go back home and you go to sleep and then you get back up the next day and do the same thing. Going to work, asking people if you can pick up their shift so that you can make enough money so that you can pay your electric bill. Because when we go through inflation, everything go up. Everything.
Yep. Sleep is your dinner. Sleep.
There you go.
That's what your dinner is.
There you go.
Or you're going to have to get one of them Jamaican beef patties at 7-Eleven or buy a pack of some ramen noodles and then just call it a day. But that's basically it. That's all you got. And people were like, oh, you need to eat healthier. Man, motherfucker, you eat healthier. Go ahead and tell me what I can and can't eat, even though what I can eat is the unhealthy stuff that's cheap as hell. Like, look, I was looking the other day. I saw a can of Arizona tea for $1.50. What was more expensive? A bottle of 7-Eleven water was for $2.50. $1 more for a bottle of 7-Eleven water? More expensive than Arizona tea? Are you kidding me right now? Water?
That's right. There were times like going to work into the restaurant and being happy to go in so you get the free meal because you're an employee.
Exactly, because it saves you money.
That's right. That's right. A lot of people don't know. So it's just, I think sometimes like people, especially if they just see us like on YouTube or whatever, they don't realize like where we may have been.
Yeah. And I'm still broke as hell. You know, they don't know, man. Man, I did not think we would get this deep, but I'm glad. All right, let's continue.
It got no. You living beyond you ain't never heard nobody living beyond their means.
No, I don't understand what living beyond your means is.
And spending it on
That's an imaginary concept.
Do you know a lot of people came from working 50, 60 hours to becoming rich?
Or you see the kids
Wait a minute,
that are lacking don't have none.
Did you just say a lot of people who worked 50 or 60 hours became rich?
Yes. If you most people who are heavy businessmen, they came from working full time.
What you mean? Like,
that's bullshit, by the way.
No.
That's bullshit.
White hat dude is way off. A lot of those people came from families that had generational wealth.
Yeah. In fact, I think the statistic is over 40% of the ultra wealthy came from families that already had wealth. I might be off on that. I think it's about 40%. But
already had some type of, or those people had someone help them out and give them a leg up. Those
Yeah.
people had someone that was like, okay, I got this business idea.
Mhm.
Why don't you come in and join me? Like that kind of thing. This whole idea of people being a self-made billionaire, like I never believed that. How are
Yeah.
you self-made? Like Elon Musk, for example, that's not self-made when you're coming from a family of generational wealth that stole wealth or stole possible wealth from Africans.
Yeah.
So you don't, it just same thing. Kylie Jenner, same thing. You're
Yep.
not self-made when you coming from a family with generational wealth.
Yeah. And look, people like Jeff Bezos, his family gave him $200,000 in order to start his business.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump had over $1 million that was given to him, plus his daddy, put him on the board. People like Bill Gates, his family was affluent. They all come from affluence. Even if you're not super rich, you come from affluence. You still had a safety net in order to start on stuff. How many people are talking about right now? Like I showed a video from a realtor on TikTok where he said most of the people who are buying homes are either older people or there are a lot of younger white people who families are paying the down payment for them.
And people, at least in Massachusetts, people are offering like $200,000 cash down payment for homes just so they can get the home. People are foregoing the housing, the housing, what's it called? The housing inspection. People are choosing to forego housing inspections, which is dangerous, by the way. Don't ever do that. Choosing to forego a housing inspection, coughing up $200,000 down payment just to get the home because the houses are so expensive here now. It's gotten to that point where it used to be bidding wars. That's not even a thing anymore. People are just showing up, just dropping down cash. And so people have to understand, even when you look at someone like Mark Zuckerberg, his family may not have been billionaires, but they weren't poor either.
No, they actually could afford to give him a full ride to Harvard.
There you go.
If you can afford to send your kid to Harvard, you got money.
Yep. It ain't that many. And I'll be honest with you. And I worked at Harvard. I'm right here in the Boston area. And I'm going to keep it real with you. It's not that many people, many students at Harvard that come from poor families. It's not that many of them. There are some, and they get a full ride from Harvard. But it ain't that many of them. Most of those people come from families that have wealth or they are legacy kids. And so that's what people really got to understand. It's a big problem. So this gatekeeping mentality that people have in reference to class and poor people, that's something that has to change.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So here's my thing. I wrote some notes that I wanted to say really quick in response to, let me see. Did I get all the way to where I needed to? Oh, just a little bit more, a couple more seconds, you see.
Fat, like it was kind of heavy you talking about. Hey, rich people don't have shit either. That's what niggas don't realize.
Okay.
Basically. But one of the things that I wanted to say was, so under this guy saying unnecessary spending, you can't get rich without working for the boss. This is why they make it so that you never make enough to do it. Why do you think minimum wage is still $7.25 an hour federally? Why nobody making minimum wage in their state this is why nobody making minimum wage in their state can afford a 2-bedroom apartment in this country. The people who can invest already have the money and privilege to begin with. Unless you're one of the lucky ones, they choose to make it. That's only to give the illusion of hope. So that's basically what I wanted to say. And then there's another point that was made. Let me see, 2805. There we go. All right. So here's another point.
So that's why I'm saying it goes back to what I was saying. When I watch people work all week,
I don't see it.
Don't get no money. I don't think that's fair. This country is not set up right. There are too many people who have.
Yeah.
Are you sharing it? It's not on the screen. I didn't see it.
It's not? Oh.
No, I don't.
Ooh. Sorry. that.
Been working for 20, 30 years, ain't got a motherfucking thing. That's not fair. That's not fair. If you work a job, you should be able to own a house and a car and be able to take your family vacation twice a year and maybe to dinner once a month out. It should never be, the standard for living should not be under that.
I agree.
Oh, it's
But there are people who work all year long, and if they miss a day, they got the bus of stain to catch up.
Yep.
And
especially if you don't get sick pay.
Oh, definitely. You know, there's so many people who just, they can't make it, you know, and it's sad because, I mean, most of this country cannot live on more than, they can't afford a $400 emergency. And let me share this really quick. There is an article, and I'll get back to the video real quick, but there's an article out of the Hill that shows, it says 63% of Americans say they're living paycheck to paycheck, and a survey says the majority of those living paycheck to paycheck said inflation is making it harder to reach long-term financial goals. This was back in December of last year.
See, you see how this is, how things have changed. That's why it's like, you know, it used to be, well, those people need to learn how to manage their money better. All 63%.
63%. That's a lot of people, man.
That's a lot. It's more than half.
Yep. In fact, that's 2/3. That's almost 2/3 of the entire workforce saying that they have to live paycheck to paycheck. Are all of us just lazy and we don't know how to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps?
Jaybe, I'm telling you, I pop into the grocery store at least once a week because I got to get the spinach. So Jaybe and I make smoothies, for those of you who don't know. Smoothie team. And that's cheap, like the cheaper things to get, right? So I pop in there at least once a week because I at least got to pick up the spinach. But I'm telling you, the prices have been increasing every week. I'm not kidding. Maybe not where you are, where I'm in Massachusetts, like those prices continue to go up every week.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's continue. So there's a lot of good points that's made, especially the guy Craig. He makes some good points too.
If you want to understand this topic more clear, read Dr. Claude Anderson's book, Black Labor, White Wealth. It tracks how Black people being lower class was something that was socially engineered by the system. It was purposely done. You know what I mean? It was purposely done. And he tracks the laws that they passed over the last 300 or 400 years and the different things that were actually done legally to keep us down and make us the peasant class.
That's what I was just going to say. Marcus, not Marcus, Craig, I haven't even read the book, but I'm sure that brother gives some information on how you're not going to be in a position to get out of poverty. To get out of poverty takes something that is super duper hellified out of motherfucker. Whenever you
or revolutionary.
Or you got some help.
Yep.
Somebody helped you, you know?
Yep. Definitely.
You see a motherfucker get up out of poverty, it's something super duper hellified about it.
They financially literate.
They who?
Financially literate.
I'm not financially literate.
Yeah, I'm not saying everybody did, but most people that come from that situation become financially literate.
Who?
The people that are making investments in assets, dog.
Because you really need to read this book. I ain't even read the book, but I know you need to read. So you gonna invest your way out of poverty.
Read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. He'll tell you.
What is his name? Kiyosaki?
Yeah, Kiyosaki, Asian man.
Is he Asian man?
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
you
white
read
daddy.
that book on that.
You
read that.
Educated him.
You read that Kung Pao ass book if you want to.
can't.
I know what the fuck is going on out here.
It's
It's all set up for you to die in the poorhouse.
Well,
you
that's
don't
right.
own nothing in America.
Right.
You taking hope away from people.
Quan
speaking
said
like that.
poverty is a mindset.
You can't sell hope. That's worse than dope.
That's
Hope
deep.
is worse than dope. It's false belief.
Hope is
No,
worse than
remember
dope.
what I said?
It's
years
false
ago?
belief. It's
I
not.
wonder if I asked
Hope
Dr.
is usually
Claude
delayed
Anderson,
disappointment.
can
Greg.
you invest your way out of poverty? I wonder what he would say.
He gonna say
I would say no.
Investing requires money.
Yeah.
You can't invest in something if you don't already have money. That's the problem with why a lot of people can't get out of those situations, because it costs money to make money. So if you don't have no money, somebody has to help you. There's different ways that some people have gotten out, and I want to give a couple examples.
Mhm.
How did my parents get out of poverty? They joined the military. Should
Mhm.
you join the military? No.
Mm-mm.
If you were to ask my dad today, should you join the military? He would say, hell no. That was his ticket out of poverty. It wasn't like he was like, yay, I want to go fight for my country. No, that was a way for him to get out of the projects. That's one way. Another way, you get an athletic scholarship. Is everybody an athlete? No. And even then it's like you basically, they've changed the rules now to where these athletes can make money off of their name and likeness. But when I was in college, that was not the case. And those athletes were basically indentured servants. The football players were not allowed to have a job because they were on the football team. So you ain't got no money. So you talking about going on dates and stuff like that. How you going to go date someone if you don't have no money to even take them out on a date?
Mhm.
So you basically become like an indentured servant. Another way to get out, somebody comes to you with a business proposition to get you out. Now that could be a good business proposition. It could be a bad business proposition. Sometimes that business proposition may mean selling drugs. That's not a good business proposition.
No.
Sometimes it could be, hey man, I'm thinking about starting this tech company or whatever. You want to get on page with me with this? But even with that, that requires you being in the right spaces with the right people who are going in that direction. And not
Yeah.
everybody has that. Then you got to look at the school system. So a lot of the schools in those neighborhoods are under-resourced and underfunded. Some of these schools don't even have computers, guys. Even today, I've
Mhm.
been in those schools, still don't have them. So if the schools are a sham, and the food that you're eating in the community is a sham because you're not given healthy food options. And this refers back to the food deserts. We have food deserts in this country where people only have like a CVS or Rite Aid to go to get food. So you're not eating healthy. You're getting a poor education. How is this all their fault? People can't help where you're born. You can't help if you were born into poverty. Yes, some people are outliers and they do get out. But those people that get out usually had some type of help. Not everybody can be an athlete. Not everybody can be a musician. Not everybody can be an actor. Most people will not get that opportunity, no matter how good they are. And not everybody is able to join the military.
Mm-mm.
So this idea that dude in the white hat has, where it's just like they're financial illiterate, well, that goes back to the school system.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not that, why aren't they teaching? Let's be real. If I go to the suburbs here, the Boston suburbs, if I go to Belmont, Massachusetts, and you walk in there and these kids are learning like advanced calc and they're learning about finances and things like that. Why aren't they teaching those same things at those schools in the inner city? Why aren't they teaching those same classes? Why aren't they having those same recruiters, those same college recruiters that come to Belmont, that come to Boston Latin? Why aren't they having those same college recruiters come to those schools in the hood? You see what I mean?
Because they don't think enough of them. No. And then on top of it, you can say, oh, you just need more financial literacy, but you can be as financially literate all you want, but if you don't actually have the resources in order to appeal to that financial literacy, you're done. It's just like saying, I know exactly what it takes to grow a plant, but the problem is if I ain't got the seeds, then I can't grow shit.
There you go. It takes money to make money. Not to sound cliche, but it's true. If you ain't got no money, how are you going to start a business with no money?
Yeah. And here's the thing. You're priced out because these employers will not pay you enough in order for you to get yourself out of the situation.
$7.25 an hour.
$7.25 an hour.
How are you supposed to get out of poverty with that?
Nope. This is why building class solidarity and class consciousness is so important. This is why we're doing this is why we're trying to, do these chapters all over the country and trying to build a class consciousness, because ultimately, look, they don't want you to ever succeed. They're putting this barrier before you. All right, so here's another point that I wanted to go over.
To the bed hurt, then go out there and go get it. Somebody be like, well, how you get it? I can't tell you how to get it. You just gotta go get it. I'll help you because you my brother. I'll help you. And this is all, I got proof that I pass licks to my brothers. I'm not just saying that. I'm saying I can't tell you everything. You might not be cut to get it. You might be meant to have nothing. It's just people act like you ain't supposed to say that to people. But I know career losers. Niggas 60 talking about I'm finna. I'll be like, what? Nigga, it's over. Go get you a canoe and ride people across the river before they finna fight for $5.
That's funny to the brother.
I'm just saying.
Somebody
dog.
said clone Tyrone. That was great, by the way. If anybody ever
I think I missed my point.
I was just gonna say, she mentioned they cloned Tyrone. If you guys haven't seen that movie on Netflix, you should definitely watch it, because that movie actually shows you exactly how they keep us where we are. That everything's controlled. It's not necessarily controlled by people who live in the community. It's controlled by people who don't live in the community. Why do you think? Look around. Look around. This is what I used to say to people, because this, still to this day, this really bothers me. You walk through any type of suburb and you don't see these things. You go to the inner city neighborhoods, particularly Black inner city neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
Why the businesses that you see that are abundant, why is it always the check cashing places,
Mm-hmm.
the payday loan places,
Mm-hmm.
liquor store,
Yep.
pawn shops? Did I say pawn shops yet? Why
Nope.
do you see
Pawn
those
shop.
things all the time? One on every corner. Those are things designed to keep you where you are. You don't see those businesses in the suburbs. You don't see that shit over and over again.
And the plasma donation clinic right in my neighborhood, 1 block from me, on top of all that, because they want us to donate our plasma. They don't want people who are rich. They don't have that in rich areas where you can donate plasma in order to get cash. No, they have it in our area, and you can only do it, I think, once a week. You can't go in one day and come back the next day because it's a health issue. So we also have.
I donated plasma when I was in undergrad. I'm not even kidding. This is usually the people they get to do it is people in poor Black neighborhoods and the college students, because they know a lot of times we're broke college kids and we need the money. So we used to go donate plasma and stuff like that to get money.
I'm not allowed to because I'm gay.
Yeah, there's restrictions too. There's certain medical restrictions. Apparently, if you've lived in certain places during certain years, you can't do it. If you have an iron deficiency, they won't let you do it. Things like that. But I'm just saying that there are businesses that are in those communities that are designed to keep people where they are, not to uplift people in the community and get them out of poverty. And the number one thing, and that's the question a lot of people should be asking, where are the businesses in the neighborhood and the community to help get people out of this situation instead of keeping people in it? They don't want you to get out.
Nah, they don't ever want you to get out. So here is the next point that I think I overshot. So hopefully this is it.
Did what they wanted to do with that. They're on to other things like cloning.
Man,
They're on they that getting out of the poverty shit. That's old.
they're like, we've already mastered.
Right. We know you ain't gonna never be shit.
Yeah, we got that.
We want you to
system
think
down
you
pat.
can work hard and get it. You can't work hard and get it. You just gotta find a way to get it. That's why it's a lot of motherfuckers locked up, because they was trying to get it.
Hell yeah. You gotta start.
They ain't even violent criminals, but they in jail with the violent criminals because they mix them in together, hopefully they can integrate into the violence. Because you got to be violent if you put amongst motherfucking violent motherfuckers.
Real shit.
You got to be violent. If you ain't violent, motherfucker, you gonna die. So this is all set up in their perfect plan to make you think hard work gonna get you some money. Hard work gonna get you back blew out.
Yep.
You supposed to sleep until you can't sleep no more, until the bed hurt. Then go out there and go get it. Somebody.
And this is one of the points that you were making, where a lot of times people have to turn to drug use. Drug sales in order to make it. But the thing is that even though it may be lucrative, the risk is so high, because if you get caught and then you have to do jail time or prison time, basically your life is over. And let's say, because there's a lot of people who may do it in order to help provide for their households, because it's actually a legitimate job. Let's be real. And then that job is illegal. So then you get put into jail or prison. Guess what? Your family does not have a source of income anymore. Right?
Yep.
And so guess what? Now you're eating even worse. But the thing is, you had to feel like you had to take that risk. You had to commit a crime of opportunity or desperation in order to be able to lift yourself up out of poverty. Because cutting it at the local Starbucks or cutting it at the local, Sonic ain't helping.
No, even on the national level, even the United States government don't want to give you, they don't want to pay you what you should make to get out of poverty. They don't want to pay you more than $7.25 an hour. Like, how messed up is that? This is why more people are leaving this country. This is why more people are leaving, particularly like younger people graduating from undergrad are leaving the US, and they're moving to countries where it's a lot cheaper. They're moving to places like Brazil. In fact, Nico, I don't know if you guys know this, but Nico moved to Brazil. They're moving to places like Brazil. People are starting to go to Cuba. Some people are going to Canada. People are going to places where it's cheaper so they can just get out of the system. Now, does it mean that everything in those countries is perfect? No, there's no such thing as a perfect country, but not everybody even has the means to move.
No, we don't.
And that's another thing. Think back to the migration, right? Think back to when Black people moved from the South and started moving up north, right? And moved to places like Chicago, Baltimore, Philly, Pittsburgh, these cities that had, more manufacturing. Like, think back to those times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even back then, they had the money and the means to move. You talk to people today, particularly even younger people, they don't have the money to move to the city right next door to them, let alone move to another state. And then you look at the cost of housing, the fact that there are actually apartment complexes charging over $1,000 for studio apartments in states like Alabama. What has this country become? Where are you supposed to go? Then you got to have 3 months rent up front. If you don't have any credit, you're going to have a cosigner. So if your parents don't have good credit, good luck with that.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much that you have to have before you can even make those types of moves. And then you got to have a job lined up.
Yep.
It's so different.
Yep. And good luck trying to afford a U-Haul on top of all that. Take time off in order to be able to pack things and move. And then on top of that, a lot of times you have to give, an initial payment in order to get your lights turned on and your gas turned on top of all that. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. Maybe you might have to, depending on the timing, maybe you might have to put your stuff in storage. That's more money. That's like $150 a month at least.
My grandparents moved from North Carolina to Baltimore, Maryland. Manufacturing jobs lined up. Most of those companies don't even exist anymore, right? But we're able to just take their stuff, get into the car, drive up to Baltimore, and that's it. We all set. Try doing that today.
It don't happen. Nah. Yep. And then on top of that, you got to pay for an application fee, which is BS to me. Anyways, so yeah, let me go to, I'm almost done. So this one.
What it is, man. It's motherfuckers who ain't got shit. Now, there are some people with hating they hard from birth, but I'm just saying, wait a minute, you one hospital visit away from the poorhouse with $1 million in the bank.
Everybody.
God damn, that's great. What he just said right there.
In some the great.
In some the great. You are one hospital visit away from the poorhouse with $1 million in the bank.
With any.
So that's another point, because people get sick.
We need to talk to him, JB.
We do, because he's saying a lot of interesting things, man. And I'm just like, man, this guy is, he's a comedian, but he's on point, man. A lot of comedians tend to be on point, though, with a lot of these things. Let me see. Wait, I'm trying to go back to my notes. Let me see. 4706. Okay. I'm almost there. Wait, where is it? Trying to get perfect. Okay.
You don't even have a voice in a courtroom. You're at the mercy of what they want to do to you. Yeah. And
so he's talking about if you get caught trying to make money while doing something illegal.
What helps you sometimes is if you spend that paper. If you ain't got no paper, I don't care how hard you work and invest, you going to jail.
That's real shit. The other thing that would kill poverty, but it would never do it because Black people are addicted to consumerism. Buying shit makes us feel good. We feel better. We got to have a haircut. We got to have fresh shoes. All that shit is bullshit, right? But
I don't think it's bullshit. I think that, this is just my opinion. Yeah. I think that we cope in different ways.
Yeah. It's definitely coping.
Materialism.
But look, they got this thing called a single family dwelling or single family homes. Basically, they push that they want one family to a house. You got 5, 6 bedroom, 7 bedroom houses with one family in it, 3 members of the family. It should really be like 2 or 3 families in one house.
Old schools, that's how it used to be. Everybody used to be together. Everybody used to support each other and be together.
If people live like that, it would be no poverty. But everybody is addicted to poverty. They're addicted to individualism, or what they call existentialism, which is basically a yearning to have self-expression. But self-expression kind of kills culture, and it kills the ability to get ahead, because this society is built for you to be in debt. It's engineered for you to be a financial slave.
Ain't that what I was talking about?
Yeah.
There you go. And I just want to add something really quick, because oftentimes when we do talk about this issue, people will say, well, there are other groups that come to this country with nothing in their pocket. People kill me with that. I came here with nothing in my pocket. You came here with something. You don't travel for free. So they kill me with that. And they're able to make it. What people have to understand is that when internationals come to this country, there are certain opportunities that are presented to them that are not presented to those of us who are born in this country.
That's true.
There are certain incentives that they get when they're trying to start a business that JB and I would never get. There are certain tax breaks that they may get that JB and I would never get. So people have to understand that.
Yeah. And just to let you know, and I found this out, there are actually certain laws that are in place that if you're from a country, especially a brown country, if you are not highly educated from that country, you cannot come here.
Yep.
So let's say you're from India, right? You cannot come here unless you're college educated already in India. So if you're trying to, if you're somebody who's like, oh man, my parents came here with nothing in their pockets, yeah, but they got an education though.
Vivek Ramaswamy said that. Vivek Ramaswamy, who's running for president under the GOP, he said his parents came here with nothing in their pocket. And all I did was a quick Google search, and I saw that his parents came here with degrees. And so his dad was an engineer and his mom was like a doctor. So it's not like he came from poor working class family. And see, that's the piece that a lot of times people will leave out, that they come here with degrees. I had a friend when I was an undergrad, she was Nigerian, and her parents, she was born in the US, but her parents were born in Nigeria. And even she told me that going all the way back to her great grandparents, they were all doctors. So it was expected that she would also become a doctor. But her parents, even when they came to this country, they were already doctors. And that's what people have to understand. So let's stop it with, the days of when we had people come from like Italy and Ireland, and they came here, they were really poor and all that kind of stuff. That don't happen much anymore like it used to.
No,
So,
not unless they come here as undocumented immigrants.
exactly.
Yeah, and look at how the undocumented immigrants are doing financially. Yeah, because if you come from Venezuela or if you come from Cuba, there's actually special laws in place that actually give you a good footing, even better than some of us Black people who are born here.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, because they want to make capitalism seem better.
That's right. And I live in the Boston area, and this is called like an international hub. And I can tell you, I've talked to a lot of people who have immigrated to this country, and they'll tell you what they were offered, and then you just sit back and look at what we're offered.
Yep. This is my last point that I want to
know nothing.
Right, that's how they
I know most of the condos in New York and San Francisco aren't even occupied because rich people bought them and they just use them if they happen to come there.
That's wild.
So when you get to talking about what people supposed to have, I'm trying to tell you, if you really feel like that sky is yours, God gave you, if you feel like your heart is yours, God gave you, it ain't no limitations to nothing. I'm accepting. That's what I'm trying to say. I will do whatever I have to go out there and be something while this heart is still beating. And I'm wise enough to know everybody ain't good enough to do that. I'm wise enough to know everybody can't find their place. Some people need to be placed or they won't even dare walk off the fucking mountaintop and die.
Right.
I'm smart enough to know that. So when we say what people should have, all I'm saying is this, man. There are a lot of people who are so well off financially, dog. It will make the people who don't know nothing about it go to war. They'll be like, I'm out here busting my ass to get it. And how did they get it? You know how most Caucasian people got rich in America? Slavery.
Yeah.
And it's generational wealth. It's just been in there.
Slavery, because
because
your people were slaves. They still are ahead of you, telling you what to do.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep. And, I responded to somebody on TikTok. I got the Alabama clip. And so I responded to somebody in TikTok that they basically were saying, well, all you need to do is work hard and you can make it in this country. And I responded, I said, if that's the case, if all you had to do is work hard and make it in this country, that means that every single person that was enslaved in this country that is from Africa, they should be millionaires and billionaires, and that generational wealth should have been passed down to me, and I should be telling you what to do.
That's right. A lot of people who are rich don't work hard. They hire people to work hard for them, and they sit back and collect most of the profit and pay them scraps.
Exactly. And so, there's a little bit more that I want to show, but due to the sake of time, I can't. But I mean, for the most part, I didn't see that much of a problem with what Corey said.
Yeah.
But
that was definitely clipped out of context.
Yeah, definitely taken out of context. But, as far as we can see, if you look at the American dream and the view of meritocracy, is really a myth. And there's this lady from Alabama, many people have seen it already, where she's actually talking about how things for her were way different than what they are for her kids now. So let's go get into this.
I am so tired of feeling helpless as a parent. Yes, my kids are grown adults. My oldest is 28, my youngest is 25. And I thought by teaching them what I learned, which is you work hard, you get a good job, you're going to get the things in life that you need, right? Worked for me. Why wouldn't it work for them? Because it doesn't. Because the world has changed, all right? And now I feel like I see them struggling. And before my generation comes at me, yes, I understand struggling is a part of life. We all struggled. But there's a difference between struggling and drowning, all right? So we struggled and it was tough. But you know what? We made it. We knew there was a light at the end of the tunnel with our struggle. It seems like kids today, no matter how much they struggle, they just get further and further down the water into the drowning point, all right? When I was their age, I was making less than $10 an hour, and I could afford to live on my own. Now you have to be making six-figure salary to get a decent, tiny little place to live. So what the is going on, and how do we help them as parents? I told my son, all you have to do is work hard, go to college, or join the military like I did. He went to college, got his degree, got a full-time job. He moved back in with me right when he graduated from college because he said, hey, Mom, as soon as I get a job, which was within 2 weeks of him getting out of college, maybe take me 2 months and I'll save up enough money for me to move out. Okay, cool. It's been 10 months. He has saved almost every dime and still can't afford.
It says up there, it says the only thing I know to do is continue to support and have him stay here until hopefully it gets better.
To live. Why are one-bedroom studio apartments almost $2,000 a month? Why? Like, I just don't get it. So I don't even think that there's even classes anymore. There used to be, upper class, middle class, lower class. It's literally turning into the ultra wealthy, and then everybody else is just poor.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is, Jaybe.
Yep. Ultimately. And she's in Alabama, one of the cheapest states to live in.
Yes. Alabama is cheap. And so that goes to show you what's happening. And I mean, when I graduated college and I moved back in with my parents, I stayed with my parents for a year and I was able to save, but it still took a year. And the thing is like, I couldn't imagine having to do it today with inflation, the way things are.
In order to afford a 2-bedroom in Alabama, you need to make at least $18.13 an hour.
Yep. This is what I'm telling people. This $7.25 minimum wage, there's nowhere. Even the cheapest place is Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico even is $10.36 an hour that you need to make.
Yep. And it's crazy because a lot of times people will say, well, all you got to do is work hard and lift yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, how can you lift yourself up by your bootstraps if you ain't got no boots to begin with?
But the thing is, a lot of those people that were making those comments about bootstraps, and now they're starting to see with their own kids that, wait a minute, maybe that's not the case.
You ain't saying nothing but a word, Sabby. So yeah, this is, a lot of people are getting it now. And that's the point. A lot of people are getting it. And that's what I would like to bring out to them. Going to Rockfin really quick. Let me see. So it says, Roger Meadows, thank you so much for the tip. He says, millennials have caught up to me that has been the story of my economic working life since forever. When you guys were minors and in college, I used to tell the same story to people that they used to look at me like I had 3 heads. Now that it's caught up to everyone now, they see what I'm talking about. I thought when CJ was on Larry, he could have handled that better, but he was 100% right. You had one guy who kept talking about the crypto. As far as I'm concerned, I've seen these things get rich quick scheme before, although I will say that there's something about decentralization that I like because it models after cooperatives. The woman was on some Reaganomics BS, but Paycheck's underwater has led to the $1 trillion credit card debt crisis. 3 ways to wealth. 1, you own a company, so you squeeze your workers like juice of an orange. 2, inheritance. 3, massive government subsidies. I would like to add a 4th one, making money off of money. You contribute nothing to society. All you do is leech off of it because leech off of it because as bad as Musk and Bezos are, at least they're offering something society loves. Tesla, Amazon. But they don't represent most rich people. Most rich work in financial services. And now those people who work in private equity in the financialized sector of our economy are coming for our last bastion and mechanism we use to build wealth, home ownership and land. Sabrina, I don't know that I told you that I don't know that I told you my financial life. Also, you see check cashing in the suburbs. We call it hood suburbs. That'd be places like Roosevelt and Wyandanch and Rakim and Public Enemy are from. He continues, he says, our government refuses to invest in Americans because they would rather bring in people from other countries to do those jobs. I'm talking about jobs in high tech. I've been out of IT for years and I'm not in it anymore because I needed to upgrade my skills, but could not because the technical schools have been replaced by expensive boot camps where classes could be months long, but instead only a week offering no financial aid.
There you go.
Yep. So, yeah. Gene Whitworth says, but you need to understand, Sabby, that those immigrants that get the grants are people of wealth too, for the most part. The poor ones would never come, mostly, if not for Western-driven chaos in those countries. So, yeah, that's a good point too.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I actually have to go, JB, but don't forget this. There's other super chats, I think.
Yep, I will get to those. What do you got going on tonight?
Covering, we're gonna do the 50K celebration tonight, and then also I have 4 news stories I'm gonna cover.
All right, it's gonna be about that guy that made that song, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
yep. That's gonna be one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So stay tuned. Be at Sabby Sabs in 30 minutes. All right, Sabs. Have a great night and congratulations again.
Bye. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. So we're going to get to the super chats and head on out. All right. So JD Informant says, JB, you watch Rugrats, so you watched the clues. No, I didn't watch Rugrats. I was poor. I didn't have cable. The only time I saw Rugrats was whenever I went to a friend's house, and I very rarely even looked at it. So, yeah, I didn't watch Rugrats either. Like, yeah, I didn't have cable. The only time we had cable was for maybe a month after my mom got her income tax return, and then we had it for a month. And then after that, maybe 2 months, and then she would let it go because we couldn't afford it. So, yeah. Miss McMillan says, congratulations for Sabby for hitting 50,000 subs. Thank you so very much, Miss McMillan, for the super chat. All right. Chima Madhu says, what's your opinion on these self-help, personal responsibility, and money mastery gurus that have been popping up in droves on the airwaves? It's a grift. It's a grift in order for them to make more money just by telling you how to make more money, when in reality, and then they sell you on the opinion that your problems are individualistic and all you got to do is fulfill, these things that you need to do in order to solve your problems. And then it's all over. And then all you have to do is turn a blind eye to all the other poor people around you and, among you, and you're fine. When in reality, the system is the problem. It is a systemic problem, not an individual one. So in order to really truly achieve what we like to think of as the American dream, honestly, ultimately, you really need to change the system, but it needs collective action in order to do it. So that's what it looks like to me when people who are these self-help or personal responsibility or here's how you do money mastery really is just a way for them to make more money. The Gary V's and all those types. Basically. Soul Construct says, if you became a millionaire, you stole from some folks. Absolutely. You actually have to get into the game of exploitation. If you're not into that exploitation game, then you cannot make it. And that's what's dependent upon in this system. And a lot of us have too much respect for our fellow human beings in order to do it. And that's the thing. You have to actually be inhumane in order to make it in this system. Kurt Kurt Boss says, once again, YouTube didn't give the RBN notification. And I think part of it is because Nick and CJ were on earlier. So it's like if they were on earlier, they only want to get like one notification per channel out from time to time. So, and plus I started everything kind of late. So, but thank you so very much. We are definitely suppressed. So make sure to hit the subscribe. And if you haven't liked the stream already, you can make sure to like. Black Magic says, ready or not, Generation X faces bleak retirement horizon. Ready or not, Generation X faces bleak retirement horizon on a Yahoo article. Yeah. It's, basically. Christopher Anderson Breeze, he says, a one-bedroom apartment in the hood in Los Angeles will easily run you $2,400 plus. You're living next door to Crips, Bloods, Cartel, and meth labs. Ain't that the truth? And the thing is that you're spending all that money and you can't even live a decent life. That's the problem. Definitely. Tina Love, thank you so very much for the super chat. Says that guy is right. System designed to ensure blacks stay at the bottom. That is the main reason for fierce opposition to reparations. That's another thing, because they don't want to actually give us enough to take us out of second-class status. Because if you take us out of second-class status, and then we're at the same class as everybody else, then guess what? And that means that everybody else is going to wonder, if they can take them out of second-class status, then that means that we also can get into better class collectively by having healthcare, housing for all, food for all, having education that goes from pre-K all the way to 16th grade, which you can get college without having to, pay for it all at all. And then on top of it, you also can bring back manufacturing jobs, and all these public dollars actually can be used for you instead of us giving 24 million extra dollars to Ukraine, something like that. You know what I'm saying? So it goes to show that it's like, well, no, the government can actually take care of us. And we can actually determine what actually the government does for us versus the super rich determining how the government operates. It's all about who operates the government. Is it us that operates the government, or is it the super rich? It's not us. TLDR, it's not us. It's actually the ultra rich who actually operate the government, and they're operating it for their own ends. But if we were to have our hands on the government, which honestly takes revolution, then that means that we would operate it, and it would be under how we want things to be, which means everybody gets a seat at the table. But they don't want that. Tina Love says poverty in America is by design. Denial of reparations, terrible school systems, wage cuts, refusal to pay livable wages, under taxation of wealth, over taxation of working class, etc. And a lot of times when people say taxation is theft, it's because, number one, taxes are not going to the things that people actually want. Number two, the taxation is overtly on those of us who are poor and working class, and it's underrepresented basically and underdone basically in people who are wealthy and rich. So the thing is that that's why a lot of times people get sick and tired of being taxed, because they're overtaxed, whereas the people who actually have a lot are undertaxed. So in reality, taxation really isn't necessarily theft. It just depends on what you're spending it on. If I send you to the store to get me some bread, milk, and eggs, but then you come back with a couple scratch-off tickets and a couple black and miles, I'm going to get pissed off at you because you spent the money on something that is unnecessary, that's not going to feed me. So that's what it is. We're spending money on war, and we're spending money on giving subsidies to companies that are literally burning our planet. This is why taxation, in a sense, yes, is theft. This is why we got to change the system so that we actually have taxes that actually pay for the things that we actually could benefit from. JD Informant says, come on, Sabby and Jaybe, Bidenomics is... I love your gosh, yeah. Yep, your sarcasm. It registers. Thank you. Red 6 says, to make it worse, the U.S. increased the price to renounce your citizenship from $450 to $2,350, making it harder to move internationally. I didn't know it cost money to renounce your citizenship. See, here's the thing. I don't travel outside the country because I can't afford it. I'm not going to look into something I can't afford. So, yeah, I don't know. I didn't know that. But thank you so much, Red 6, for that. Thanks for the super chat, Roger Meadows. They push individualism instead of community so you don't gang up on them. Exactly. You know, we got to realize there's more of us than there are of them. So that's the thing. And there's another couple tips from Roger. Let me make sure I get to those as well before we head on out. Okay. Roger says, based on the last segment and combining it with this segment, I want to start asking people like Vivek pay you what you should make to get, hey, you believe in a meritocracy, correct? He says yes, and I say, okay, so are you willing to end inherited wealth, including your own, for the simple fact that heirs never earned their wealth, the wealth their parents did? We should let them earn it. Absolutely. Like, if you honestly think that you just work hard and then it is yours, and you know, you basically should not have any inheritance, because meritocracy really depends on you getting rich based off of your merit. So any trust fund baby should not have money access to that trust fund. So yeah. Roger also says, if you have time, look up the first enumerated power, then look up Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1, then read the preamble. 1 finances it, and the preamble encourages it. Wow. And thank you so much for the chat, Dave Burt. I support no inherited wealth. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, it's a lot, man. And the thing is that a lot of times people will think that, you know, we have that you can just invest your way out of poverty. You can just invest your way out of this system. But in reality, you can't. Thing is that let's say you invest your way out of poverty, but guess what? There's a lot of people who are around you that are also still going to remain impoverished. And if you're an empathetic person, guess what? That's going to make you broke anyway. So you absolutely have to look the other way, move into the suburbs, move into gated communities with other rich people, and then leave it so that you basically just don't see it. And it's just like there's one guy that talked about, I think somebody was was it Marianne Williamson? Or somebody was talking to Bill Maher, and you know, he was basically saying everything's fine. And somebody asked him, well, you live in California. Have you rode by Skid Row? And he's like, no, why would I need to? I don't want to see that. And it's just like, dude, it's grown. It's grown. So you're purposely not looking at it so you can say, just like that meme where everything's burning around you, everything's fine, when in reality, nothing is fine. That's what you have to do if you have money, because if not, then your empathy starts to affect you. And if your empathy starts to affect you, then your wealth goes down. When in reality, ultimately, really the system needs to be changed so that we all can have a base level of living, so that everybody has housing, everybody has health care, everybody has clean water to drink, everybody has food, everybody's not worrying about their public safety because being shot in the back by police, and everybody has education. But if we do that, that means the ultra rich are not ultra rich, and they have what everybody else has. But apparently, being like everybody else is wrong in their eyes because they think they're somehow better, which is bullshit. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. I got to get going because we went way over. But thank you so much. I'm sorry I can't get to all the chats, but it's good to see all of you here. If you guys have not already, then you guys can also join our mailing list at revolutionaryblackout.substack.com so you guys can get put on the list so you guys will not miss out on any of our live streams. If you guys would like to, you guys can go to revolutionaryblackoutnetwork.com. If you guys would like to go to our website, and if you guys would like to, you guys can become members. We have $3.99 memberships on Revolutionary Blackout Network. And if you would like to, you guys can become a patron on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/Revolutionary Blackout. If you guys would like to become a patron on Patreon as well. And if you guys would like to, you guys can also donate for our graphics designer, Erin. She does great work. You guys go to Venmo at Revolutionary Blackout or Cash App $ Mutual Aid Forever because she loves the kiddies. Thank you so very much to Erin. And look, everybody, mwah, mwah, forehead kisses to every single one of you because I like to give forehead kisses. And oh, by the way, see my channel, and I'll be doing news stories next week on my channel, and I'll also be doing news stories this Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on RBN. All right, 15 minutes till Sabby goes live. Go there. See you later. Mwah. Deuces, Bruces. Love you. Bye-bye.